Hi, it's Tash from Foxes and Brown Bears Tarot, and today I'm doing a VR to Boy Diviner, and it's his top 5 confrontational tarot decks. So the idea of this is kind of looking at decks that are confrontational and aggressive in some way. So not necessarily shadow decks, not necessarily kind of spooky decks, or decks that have a dark theme, but more so those decks that really smack you in the face and actually give you some very, very hard truths. And so here we go. Here are my top 5 confrontational tarot decks. Now, probably one of the top ones has to be the New Era Elements Tarot by Eleanor Piper. And this is a US Games deck, and I mean, it kind of goes without saying that it is very, very confrontational. These are the backs, and basically I've edged mine in like a bronze because it kind of goes with that very kind of sepia kind of monotone, because it is pretty much black, and it's not really black and white, it's kind of like a sepia kind of toned, and so I think the edging has worked very, very well on this one. But this one is just really looks at current affairs, historical events, some of the harsh realities of the world. And yeah, so basically it really does confront you, like things like torment. Like, oh my gosh, it really looks at that whole animal cruelty thing, experimentation, and even the court cards are very kind of they're beautiful, but it's really looking into the soul of a particular group of people. And here you can see failure, and Wheel of Fortune's kind of looking at gambling. So even something that could be seen as quite positive is also kind of you're looking at the dark side of it as well, and like the destruction there. So looking at space exploration. I love the court card so much. And even the Fool is really looking at how we're coming into this world and we're going to experience all the different elements, and we're going to experience all that life has to offer, both the good and the bad. And even this one of success, you're really looking at, it takes a lot of work. And so there's very little in this deck that isn't super confronting in some way, and it really gives you very, very clear messages to provide some quite confronting guidance, so yeah, even change, look amazing, it's the fact that things can go from good to bad, bad to good. And yeah, so I just think this is probably one of my most confrontational decks, really. And I use it a lot for sort of current affairs sort of readings, trying to understand what's happening, or at times where you really need a very strong message about a very important matter. So yes, so that's the first key one that is confrontational. You could almost say aggressive. I don't know. It's one of those things. All right, the second one is more humorous, but I still find it very confrontational. It's the Zombie Tarot. So this is a lovely deck. It really is. It's so you can see Stacey Graham, and beautiful box. It's kind of really cool, and it's really kind of looking at a zombie apocalypse. And so I find it quite confrontational because, particularly in this time of pandemic, I think it really is quite hard hitting, and for that reason it's confrontational. So even though it's hard hitting in quite a humorous manner, it, to me, still gives me some very, very hard truths. So here you can see the High Priestess, The Chariots. I mean, that's pretty confrontational. Knight of Cups. The Empress. Age of Hazards. The Hierophant. I mean, look at that, as though the media is your source of knowledge in a way. How true is that in the current day? For good or bad, and it may be truth or falsehood. So yeah, so I have found it really cool, but I found it a little bit too confronting at this stage. And so I actually haven't worked with it as much as I could have, because at the moment, with the way things are, I'm finding that it probably just reminds me of things that I really don't need reminders on. But it is a very confrontational deck, in my opinion. So even though it's kind of like that dark humor, it is definitely quite an aggressive deck. I mean, even though it is aggressive in a humorous way. So pretty cool. Highly recommend it though. Like, it's so cleverly done, and like all the depictions are just so accurate for the particular cards that have been chosen. And the book is really cool. It's quite humorous, and I mean, it's quite short. It's very brief in terms of that, but it also gives you very, very snappy messages, you know. So, and I think for that reason, it kind of works, you know. So it's about time you caught a lucky break. You know, the Ten of Cups showers you of happiness and respite against the advancing zombie horde. Kick back, crack open a cold one, enjoy the good times while they last. Family and friends gather around to strengthen bonds and make plans for the future. But that's it. It's confrontational. It's you know, these things may not last. Enjoy the moment while you can. And then you have some of the much darker ones. So the Five of Cups there. All seems lost. The mood is black. Things aren't going as you'd hoped. In your face of utter disappointment and cursing your mouth-watering limbs for tempting the zombie horde. Obsessing over the past can only cause pain. Turn that frown upside down and look to a future free of disgusting walking corpses. If you grieve too long, your sorrow may swallow you up. So it's very in your face. The tough friend going, snap yourself. You know, snap out of it. Sort yourself out. You know, so it is confrontational for that. It's definitely not a hug deck. All right, another one that's very confrontational, in my opinion, is actually the Animal Totem Tarot by Lisa Robertson, illustrated by Eugene Smith. And this is a Llewellyn deck, and it's got the coolest book. Like, how chunky is this book? And the meanings are quite substantial, and it does actually look at different aspects of life. So the major arcana give you quite a lot, but even the minor arcana are still giving you 2 pages. So very well done book. And this is an animal deck, and I love animal decks. I have a lot of them, the backs. But what I find about this one is, even though it's animal and nature, it really does show the raw power of nature. It shows the reality of nature. And I've always found that it gives me very, very clear, to the point, fairly blunt answers, this one. And you can see it throws no punches in terms of depicting what nature can actually be like. So the depth's pretty confronting there. But all of it is just because I think it shows animals in their natural environment, doing what animals normally do. And I don't know, for some reason I find this one really speaks very clearly in a very, in sometimes an aggressive manner. And yeah, so weirdly enough, I love this deck. It's one of my favorites. It's so good. But it definitely does speak to a rawness, which I find quite confrontational at times. So yeah, if you want an animal deck that's not all fluff, this is definitely one I recommend, because it's pretty cool. It does show a wide variety of animals, And no snakes, so I hate snakes. So that's one of the advantages for me of this particular deck. And so pretty cool. Highly recommend this one. All right, so that's the Animal Totem Tarot. And another one that I find speaks to in a quite aggressive manner in some ways. Probably not aggressive, more confrontational, is the Darkwood Tarot by Sasha Graham, illustrated by Abigail Larson. Once again, a Llewellyn deck. So beautiful book, although this one is in color. And because it's really looking at, you know, this particular figure going into the dark wood and confronting, I guess, confronting the harsh truths of life, confronting the shadow, confronting fears. I really see this deck as you are wanting to go and confront your fears. You're going to try and work out how to find your courage, to look at what you need to work on. And so in that way, it can be very confrontational. So they're the backs. And the artwork's absolutely gorgeous. But yes, I do find this one very confrontational. It's very edgy. And definitely it's that journey into the unknown. And sometimes it's the unknown of our minds, which can be most confronting. And for that reason, it's really confronting fears, it's confronting worries, anxieties, particular stresses, the things we don't like about ourselves, and sometimes the harsh truths of reality and of life, and the fact that, you know, it's totally normal. Life cannot all be good. It's not the way it is. I mean, we all have to face very challenging times. We all have to face illness and death and loss and all of those things. And we can't escape it, so we may as well confront it. And I think this deck does that very well. So yes, that's the Darkwood Tarot. All right, so that's for my decks. The fifth one may come as a surprise to people because it does look like a bit of a huggy kind of deck, a very cutesy deck. And it's the Tarot Fauna. Now, to me, this is so this is created by Devon Strickler, Brittany Burkhart, and it is so cute. I love this deck so much. The backs are gorgeous, the cardstock's beautiful, and they are so cute. They're really, really cute cards. So torches, which are wands, are all foxes, and everyone knows I love foxes. Swords are feathers, and they're owls. And you've got some extra cards in there. Rocks are pentacles, and they're bears, and we all know how much I like bears. So this deck is just for me, really. And then you've got shells, which are cups, which are all otters. And this is an adorable deck. I love it, love it, love it. But for some reason, this is really confrontational. I don't know what it is about it, but every time I've used it, it smacked me in the face. It's almost like there's nothing like a cute otter telling you a harsh truth, because it's like, look how cute I am, but you know what? Like you're being an idiot. So it's I don't know, for some reason it really does it, and maybe being cute kind of creates a juxtaposition where you're not expecting it to be tough on you, and so when it is, it's even more, it seems more aggressive, it seems more confrontational, because you're not expecting it. Whereas, for example, the New Era elements, you wouldn't pull that out and expect it to be kind and fluffy, whereas this one you do, and so you tend to be quite shocked when it's not. Now, I'm sure other people have had different experiences of this deck, but for some reason it is highly confrontational to me. And for that reason, it's a very good deck, because even though it's very fluffy looking, very cutesy looking, it does actually have quite a strong message and reads very, very well. So yeah, so that's the Tarot Fauna, which is a little bit of a surprise inclusion into this particular VR. So they are my top 5 confrontational tarot decks. Thank you for watching. Hope you're all well and safe and happy, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.